2 of this 3-game set. The Astros look to take the second game of this 3-game series tonight, going 3 times, sitting balls out of the park, the long ball being a very big part of this club's success this year, and they're looking to do more of that against the southpaw. Vidal Nuno going tonight, a pitcher they've had success against all season long, really, especially with that long ball. 4 Astros in the starting lineup tonight have homered off the southpaw this year, including George Springer, who homered off him back in June 21st. That was an Astros win. And then August 31st, you see Jed Lowry there going deep. This was another Astros win. Hank Conger from the right side off the lefty. He goes deep as well. And then Carlos Correa, one of his 23 bombs he has as a rookie. So these guys obviously seen something off Nuno, seeing him a little bit better than maybe other pitchers. Nuno just 1-5 this year. He hasn't had a lot of success with that fastball as well. But one thing A.J. Hinch liked about the team yesterday and sending the ball out of the ballpark was the fact that they got that lead early. That's something they're going to really try to do again tonight against Nuno. Ash?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Julia. And hopefully the Astros can do what Julia's talking about, get off to a nice quick start against this left-hander. For A.J. Hinch and the Houston Astros tonight, it'll be Jose Altuve back in that top spot. Still the league's 3rd leading hitter, George Springer, who hit that first-inning home run. That's second, and Carlos Correa is at shortstop. Middle 3, Evan Gattis, also a first-inning home run last night, followed by Jed Lowry, one of the guys with 9 dingers. Then Chris Carter, and a huge home run ultimately to win the ball game. Bottom 3, Marwin Gonzalez in left field. Hank Conger gets a start, and it's been a while behind the plate. And Jake Marisnick in center field. And we're set for the first pitch as Nuno brings it. First pitch swinging, Jose Altuve fouls it off. So, Jeff, I think we're in agreement. Last night's win, a really good thing for this club as you start a 6-game road trip.
Yeah, that's big. We know it hasn't been kind to them on the road in those gray uniforms. But to start off that road trip, I think those 2 wins coming into this road trip against the Texas Rangers may have set the tone a little bit for this road trip, and hopefully they can finish it off.
Altuve chops one toward third, but it's called a foul ball off the body of Jose Altuve. It is, like last night, a little on the chilly side. I'm sure Julia's going to have plenty of coats and blankets wrapped around her.
How many suitcases did Julia have to pack for this trip? We're here at 66 degrees. It's going to be a 50-degree difference in Arizona.
Line shot to center field. Leadoff single Altuve. There you go. Julia may be chilly, but Jose Altuve trying to get hot after he had a little 6-game hitting streak snapped last night.
Yeah, it's good to see him start off with that knock. That means good things the rest of the way because he'll be in a good mood as you look at Vidal Nuno's numbers. Making his 34th appearance, only his 9th start. That 1-5 record, not too good. And Julie already hit on the fact that the Astros like to hit the long ball here at Safeco Field, and they've got a guy on the mound that they have some recent success against hitting the home run.
Nuno, 27 years of age. There's the big swing from George Springer. Now we're starting to see that a little more and more now from George. Hitting a lot of balls the other way, and that's a good thing, too.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about which part of the ballpark he can leave because he can leave in all parts. But when he's driving that ball up the middle, that means he's on it pretty good.
Taps it foul. Springer down on the count 0-2. I said 27 the age for Vidal Nuno. He has crossed on to 28 now. Nuno in his 3rd season in the major leagues, 4-19 lifetime in the big. Altuve goes, and this one is raked into left field. Altuve doesn't stop at second. The Astros have back-to-back base hits, and I mean some solid shots here in the first inning. Nobody out runners at the corners.
Man, I'm with you, Ash. We're going to look at the strike zone brought to you by MD Anderson. See where the location on this center cut. But there have not been shy swings by the first 2 Astro hitters. These have been rockets. They might have picked up something on Nuno because they are laying into him early, much like they did back in Houston.
Carlos Correa will stand in. How much is there in a ballpark for a team that's had success there with the bats?
I think there's a lot. I mean, I know that you could probably think back on a place that you raked when you were still playing. I know that when I went through Miller Park in Milwaukee, I had a great time hitting there. Where did you like to hit?
San Diego was probably my ultimate favorite.
Jack Murphy was awesome.
It was a big ballpark, but it was a good place to swing the bat.
You know what I think is funny is that, yeah, you're going to have good batting eyes, bad batting eyes. It's going to be visually, there's big gaps out there. But even sometimes the way the batter's box feels under your feet helps out.
Actually, for me, that was kind of a big thing. I like the feel in given ballparks.
You feel like your spikes are dug in nice and firm.
There were some ballparks that had kind of concrete feel in the box, and it didn't feel right. So the Astros trying to get at it here in the first inning. They scored 2 in the first last night with home runs. Correa has a 1-2 count. Carlos hitting .281 on his year, 21 home runs for the rookie shortstop. Nuno has allowed 13 home runs on his season. No surprise, right-hand batters hitting about 50 points higher than the lefties against Nuno. In Nuno's last start, it's part of an 8-4 loss to the red-hot Angels now. That on September 25th. And the Angels are just tearing it up in one-run games. 2-2 the count. And we will be watching the Angels tonight. Detroit, by the way, has just taken an 8-7 lead over the Texas Rangers. That game in the 6th inning. Chopper over the mound near second. They will not get the double play. Altuve scoring on the force play. RBI Correa, and the Astros jump on top 1-0.
Good hustle by Correa. Turn that double play. You don't get the RBI. The ball chopped up the middle, but he's going early. I thought that should have been a double play, but Correa's speed takes over. Astros on the board early.
And you watch Correa go down the line. You kind of get it. Can't tell on the monitor how big he is, but he is a big young man. Evan Gattis stands in. He's hit in 4 straight. And that first inning home run last night by Gattis was a big one. Made it 2-0 at the time. Seattle would tie the game at 2, but then Chris Carter took over. Guy who's hit 5 home runs here in the month of September. And a big swing by Evan.
Yeah, that was a good pass.
And Julia chatting it up with last night with Chris Carter, and today talking about him, and it's a great topic. Chris Carter's had a struggling season, I think we would all agree, but what a turn on here in the month of September.
That's actually putting it mildly. Struggling is being polite. It was awful. But now you have a chance to erase all of that. Still hitting 196, but the bombs he's hit here late, that's what everybody's going to remember.
If you have the impact to help a team get into the postseason, then you've been a plus on the course of the year for any given team. And that's what Chris Carter is making happen right now. Nuno, a couple of throws over to first base. He's allowed 3 stolen bases on the year. Nobody has been caught when he has been on the hill. Two and two now on Gattis. Evan hitting .246. Leads the team with his 27 homers. Leads in RBIs with 87. Are those numbers coming out of spring training? You would have said, hey, that's a very acceptable year for Evan Gattis.
Well, I think it's beyond acceptable, because that first month of April, he wasn't even a factor. If you remember, I mean, he hit about $150 and then just exploded after that line drive double, on a pitch over his head in Oakland, and then he just went on a tear from there.
He didn't turn that into a triple, huh?
One of the few he did. Did he get a triple on that one?
I can't remember. Pops it up on the right side. Tough play. And Morrison with a very nice back to the plate play on that pop fly. Second out of the inning. It'll bring up Jed Lowry.
That was a very nice catch by Lomo. Around the outfield for the Mariners, Seth Smith, James Jones, Mark Trumbo on the infield. Kyle Seager, Ketel Marte, Robinson Cano, and Logan Morrison. John Hicks gets the start behind home plate, working with Vidal Nuno.
Jed Lowry, one of those guys sitting one home run shy of joining the double-digit home run club. You talk about Chris Carter and what he's done here recently to help the team win some ball games. This guy, Jed Lowry, has had 2-3 swings that have turned games around. Beat Minnesota to close out a homestand with a grand slam. Went into Anaheim and hit that pinch hit 3-run home run down the line. About as exciting a moment as the club has had all year. By the way, you were talking about Evan Gattis in that month of April, and it was a rough one. He hit 164 in that month, on base of 197. Did have a couple of home runs. It's funny looking back at numbers, because thinking back, it was the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season where nothing was falling.
Yeah, he was hitless. Remember, he had that long stretch, 0 for 20, 24.
Pitch is hit pretty well to center field. Jones out there tonight. He'll retreat and make the catch. That'll do it for the Astros, but they do get a run in the first inning and have the early 1-0 lead. Game set. Back-to-back hits by Altuve and Springer set up that run in the first. For the Seattle Mariners, Boyd McClendon lines him up with Ketel Marte, the young shortstop, leading off, followed by Kyle Seager and Nelson Cruz. Middle three in the order: Robinson Cano, Seth Smith, and Mark Trumbo. In the bottom three, Logan Morrison, James Jones, and John Hicks.
Mike Fiers going for your Houston Astros. Clean shaven Mike Fiers, making his 30th start on the season. Talked about the good numbers he's putting up with those Astros. Starting numbers are actually a little bit better than that 3.18 ERA you're seeing in the 9 total games he's had with the Astros.
I want to apologize. I was watching as closely as I could, but I was unable to see the number correctly unless I was seeing into the future. It is actually a 7-6 Texas lead over Detroit. That was a 6 for the Tigers and not an 8. So again, my sincere apologies here at the top.
Getting everybody's hopes up.
Had my own hopes up.
You got me excited.
There's that fastball you talked about, below 90 miles an hour, and yet hitters can't get to it.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that Mike Fiers is 21st in Major League Baseball amongst starters with an 8.81 strikeout per 9 innings. And he is the only guy to average less than 90 miles an hour with his fastball. Deception
for me,
and good pitching.
Yeah, for me, it's the deception, the delivery where the left shoulder and arm go way above the right. And now there's something about that delivery that I would have had a very tough time with. Ground ball that maybe got a piece of the glove. Altuve tries to make a great play, can't make it, and now the ball gets by Carter. But it'll be an infield single for Marte as he's aboard to start it for Seattle.
Yeah, this ball gets deep on Marte. He just chops at it. One of those emergency hacks. Altuve does the best he can, but Marte runs extremely well.
So Marte aboard.
Good thing Carter chased that thing down. If that goes in the stands or into the camera well down there, that's an error for Altuve, and he hasn't had one of those in a long time.
He has been spectacular at second base and leads American League second baseman defensively. Kyle Seager at the plate. Running game immediately comes into play now, and it is Hank Conger behind the plate. We've all talked about his struggles trying to throw out would-be base thieves. Marte has stolen 7 in 11 tries. Fiers gets in front. Conger has thrown out 1 in 42 attempts. And you wonder how much Lloyd McClendon might be aware of that and thinking about it as he offensively considers tonight's game.
Yeah, Fiers not the speediest guy home either with that delivery you already talked about. Does have a slide step, but still, in order for him to create that motion, it takes him a little bit.
Something going on with the scoreboards here tonight.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Out in left field, they've got Seattle already tied at 1 here with the Astros. That is not true. And we've already confirmed that the Texas Rangers lead 7-6 over Detroit. The Angels have an early 2-0 lead over Oakland. That in Anaheim, first inning. Rake down the right field side. That's a solid hit. Springer cuts it off. He'll fire into second base, and it's still a double by Seager. Runners at second and third, and nobody out against Mike Fiers.
Elevated changeup. Talked about the deception. Took a little bit off this, trying to get that run away from Seager, but up in the zone. And even if you don't pick it up early, pitches up in the zone, guys are able to adjust, especially at 84 miles an hour. And he's a pretty good hitter.
Boy, he had a rough at bat late last night.
Oh.
Big strikeout eventually that the Astros needed. Nelson Cruz, talk about guys who had a rough night. Nelson Cruz leading the league in home runs, went 0 for 4 with 4 punch-outs last night. Say leading the league. He's tied with Chris Davis for the home run leadership. 43 long balls on the year. And Nelson Cruz led the league a year ago while playing with Baltimore. We've also got Josh Donaldson at 41. Mike Trout has 40. Some big years being had. Two and 1 the count. In the National League, Bryce Harper and Nolan Arenado, who is starting to hit the long ball consistently again, each with 41. And now 3-1 the count. Robinson Cano, a hot hitter waiting on deck. Mike Fiers picked up that no-hitter with the Astros, his first complete game in the major leagues. Came on August 21st against the Dodgers. This ball is hit on a line. Nice play by Marwin in left field for the out. Tagging and coming to the plate and scoring is Marte. And now the ball kicks away from Conger, and that enables Seager to move into third base. So there will be an error on this play. Sacrifice fly for Nelson Cruz. We are tied at 1.
Another ball left up. Lined out to left. Marwin did a good job of getting to that. This is a tough part about being an outfielder. You can make that throw. You expect the guy to knock it down for you. It kicks away, and you end up with the error. But again,
to me, that's pretty nice play in left field to begin with.
Yeah, but still, an everyday left fielder may not actually try to attempt to make that throw. They may just end up throwing it to third base to keep that runner at second.
Good point. So that error charged to Marwin. I missed who they dropped that on.
I would say it's got to be Marwin.
High fly ball to left field. This appears to be deep enough to score another run. Marwin plants and makes the play. And now tagging and scoring uncontested is Kyle Seager. So the Astros score in the first inning, but Seattle is up to the task. They put 2 on the board and lead it early, 2-1.
Here at Safeco, we've seen Marwin running around there in left field. Up the middle is Jake Marisnick in center, George Springer in right. On the left side of your infield, Jed Lowry and Carlos Correa. On the right, Jose Altuve, Chris Carter. Hank Conger is behind home plate working with Mike Fiers.
Base is empty now for the 5-hitter Seth Smith. That heater up to 90, and that's about the high end for Fiers. In that no-hitter, he walked 3, career high 134 pitches that night. A thrilling night at Minute Maid Park. And in that game, retired 21 straight. You wonder, what do they talk about in the dugout in a ball game like this first inning? Maybe just considering what they're seeing from Fiers.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot of scenario talk. What do you see early? But you know, these other teams, they're not going to roll over. This guy's out here, the Mariners, playing for their lives, so to speak, for next year. Leave that lasting impression on an organization.
Lloyd McClendon, their manager, still trying to validate why he needs to come back as the skipper for this club.
Again, we talked about Jerry Dipoto, now the new GM, and it's a new opportunity for some of these guys to make a first impression on Jerry Dipoto.
3-2 count now on Smith. They're in the 7th inning now in Arlington. Tigers still trailing Texas 7-6. Angels on top of Oakland 2-0 in the 2nd inning. Smith down on strikes. That'll do it for the Seattle Mariners, but they put 2 on the board. After 1 inning of play, 2-1 Seattle.
Off for the Houston Astros, who's been hot as of late, homering in the last 5 starts for him. He's really looking comfortable at the plate here recently, saying his swing feels good right now. He's really impressed the hitting coaches, who he's spent a lot of time with, including assistant hitting coach Alan Zinner, especially during the time when he wasn't playing every day, just having to watch a lot. He worked on his lower half a lot, trying to get more balance, closing in that lower half instead of staying open. So a combination of things for him has been working. Of course, not trying too hard has been huge for him, because at this point of the season, it's about helping this team, not so much himself. And of course, you're looking at some of his numbers right there, guys. But he's impressed a lot of these Astros here lately.
I think he's impressed all of us, Julia. Thanks a lot. 2-1 Seattle after 1 inning, so settle in. This one could get intriguing. Carter, Marwin Gonzalez, and Hank Conger here in the second. And this ball hit deep to center field. Jones back on the track to haul it in. One long out here in the second.
I actually think Julia said an interesting thing in that little spot. Thinking more about the team than his own individual glory, going out there and trying to help this ball club. And what he does by driving the ball out of the ballpark is helping that ball club win ball games. And right now he's settled down, just worried about making good hard contact, and he's had some good at bats.
It's always easy to take notice of the long ball. Carter also made a very nice defensive play in last night's game.
Really did. Good call.
Marwin Gonzalez at the plate. Oh, for his last 6. He came very close to launching a home run early last night, his first at bat. Hit one plenty deep. Just hooked it foul at the foul pole down the left field side. And yes, it was ruled an error on Marwin on that throw to the plate. 1 unearned run against Mike Fiers. Hot shot and a nice play by Seager. To the knees and a 360 to get Marwin Gonzalez out number 2.
It was a very nice play. Seager playing in. Marwin's swinging a strong bat from that right side. Does enough to get a glove on it, knock it down, make the play.
How much is there to learn at third base about not hurrying once you knock a ball down like that?
Yeah, it's tough. You realize when you're playing in that you do have some time, but it's hard to convince yourself when you're playing deep that you do have enough time to make a clean pickup. Get another look at it on Super Mo, brought to you by Mattress Firm. And that's the thing at third base. When you're playing in like that, just get a glove on it, knock it down, keep it in the vicinity. That's what enables you to make that play. But the best piece of advice I ever got was from Jeff Cox, AAA manager. And he said, you've always got more time than you think. And that kind of slowed things down in those panic situations for me.
Even when you're playing deep?
Yep. Because that's what you're talking about. You don't want to panic, not grab the ball, or panic and fire the ball into the stands. You've always got more time than you think.
Last time Hank Conger has had an at-bat was September 17th against Texas. And maybe a little rust there as he strikes out to end the second inning. A 1-2-3 frame for Nuno. It's 2-1 Seattle. You see some of the folks in jackets and some just braving it out like Julia Morales. It's 6-7-8 here for Seattle in the second. Mark Trumbo leads it off. Has hit safely in his last 3. The leadoff changeup start the inning.
Yeah, it's tough to see sometimes, but it might. I mean, I know he mixes in the cutter every once in a while, but the cutter and the changeup almost come in at the same velocity.
Fastball is popped back to the seats. Trumbo was 1 for 2 in last night's game. Also drew a walk and drove in a run. Hitting .263 on his season. Hit .259 with Arizona to start the year. Had 9 home runs as a member of the Diamondbacks. 13 with Seattle. 22 home runs. This is a guy who's been over 30 in terms of home runs on a season twice with the Angels. Also hit 29 in 2011 with LA. And with that swing, you could see why.
Well, I think the Diamondbacks were kind of anticipating those similar numbers he had in Anaheim in Arizona, because that's a great place for a home run hitter to hit.
Didn't happen last year. 14 home runs. But he played in just 88 games.
Yeah.
So it's tough to get a read that way. Fastball from Fiers at 91. Second strikeout. First out here in the second.
Tonight's Key to the Game is brought to you by your Houston area Chevy dealers. The Astros have to beat the beat, and we talked about the schedule going into this last road trip of the season. They're playing the Mariners, a sub 500 team. You see the record against those sub 500 teams. Also the Arizona Diamondbacks in that last 3 games of the season. Those guys are under 500. So you need to pound on these guys in order to get into the playoffs.
Sometimes those can be teams that are ripe for the picking, but sometimes they can just come up, sneak up, and grab you when you least need it.
And I think that's why AJ was talking about those runs early, because sometimes if you get enough runs early on these teams that aren't having the greatest year, they have a tendency to shut it down.
Logan Morrison at the plate, known as Lomo. He's had quite a career against the Astros. Hitting .329 against Houston in 40 previous games. 7 home runs. He's driven in 28. So he has been every bit a thorn in the side.
Did a good job of shutting him down last night.
Lines one to center field. That'll drop for a hit. 1-out single for Morrison. Hit number 3 for the Mariners. It'll bring up center fielder James Jones.
See Conger setting up inside, and we saw the Astros pitch effectively inside. Of course, Lance McCullers throws a couple miles an hour harder than Mike Fiers, but pitch up out over the plate, gets hit.
Morrison aboard. Runs occasionally. Has stolen 7 on the year. Caught 4 times. James Jones came on as a pinch runner in last night's game and was caught stealing. Just moved a little too early on Tony Sipp, who threw over at the right moment. The Astros got a big out with that one. That was the first out in the 8th inning. As a 1-1 count. Jones, the 8 hitter, will be followed by catcher John Hicks. Mike Fiers, not a guy who gets a lot of ground balls, but that's a filthy over the top yanker.
Yeah, that was one of the interesting numbers on Mike Fiers for me this year. His ground ball rate is actually up. But that's a nasty breaking ball right there, down and in. And you look at the way Fiers pitches and you would assume he's a fly ball pitcher.
His fastball certainly. 1-2. Jones hitting just 120. played in only 26 previous games. And is just 3 for 25 with the bat.
It's a pretty good pitch and a 2-strike count. He had a shot to get a hit on, but Jones missed. He may have earned himself another breaking ball down.
Jones, born in Brooklyn, New York. There's the brain trust, and Brent Strom is just deep into it at all times.
He'd be a fun guy to put a mic on during the game.
Yeah. Runner goes. The pitch high. The throw down. Conger is late. So it's a stolen base with 1 out for Logan Morrison, his 8th on the year.
The Friars wanted to go with that breaking ball. It just jumped out of his hand, lost the grip on it, fluttered up there for a ball. Conger doing the best he can, just not enough.
Just wonder how many times the Seattle Mariners might try to take advantage of that combination of Fiers and Conger.
Well, think about the pitch he ran on, too. Logan picked a great pitch to go on. A breaking ball with the Fiers-Conger matchup, that's going to be a tough out.
James Jones is in his 2nd year in the big leagues, both with Seattle. Hit .250 in 108 games last year. As a 3-2 count. And just battling, fouls it off. Didn't play in a game for the Mariners this year until June 15th. A little surprising maybe for a guy with his wheels that was able to hit .250 last year. Whereas Austin Jackson was the center fielder to start the year.
It's always interesting to watch these guys that can flat out fly and look at their number and see a 120. That tells you the guy might be getting under the pitches a little bit, popping them up as opposed to getting on top of it. Remember when Michael Bourne came up with the Astros, or came over to the Astros, had a tendency to pop some pitches up every now and then, but once he made the adjustment and started chopping that ball in the dirt, he turned into an all-star.
Jones last year in those 108 games stole 27 bags in 28 tries. Tough play, Correa. He'll make it nicely. 2nd out. Moving into 3rd is Morrison, and now the 9-hitter John Hicks.
That's a good job by Jones, just tapping that ball in play. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And you could tell it was in Carlos's head how fast Jones is. That's why he charged that ball, got rid of it on the run.
Hicks has played in just 15 games this year. 25 years of age, starts the bat. They appeal and get the swing down at first base. Umpires for tonight's game: Paul Emmel behind the plate, Andy Fletcher at first making that call. Jerry Meals is the crew chief. He's at 2nd, and at 3rd, Jordan Baker. High cheese up to 92.
Fiers is feeling it.
See that batting average at .069. Strike 3 called, outside edge at the knees. 3 strikeouts now for Fiers as he gets through the 2nd inning, leaves a man at 3rd base. Through 2-1, Mariners on top.
Visit www.rootsports.com/yard signs for a list of participating locations before they run out. Keep tweeting us your pics of your signs, too, if you've picked one up. There we go. Good close-up of one. Keep tweeting at us. Hash.
Thank you, Julia. That's the one in front of Bill Brown's house, one of multiples. We go to the third inning. 2-1 Seattle on top. Jake Marisnick leads it off. Jake hitting .236. It's Marisnick and Lowry in that home run club of 9. Trying to knock down the door and be the 12th man on the club in double digits. Inside corner a couple of times for Nuno.
These guys have a chance to write their names in the history books. That'd be nice.
So Marisnick down on strikes. Out number 1 here in the third inning. Second strikeout for Nuno. There you go.
That's one way to liven up the front yard.
What is this, the middle of the winter or what? One out in the third inning. Jose Altuve at the plate. Got it started with a solid base hit to center field in the first inning and scored the lone run for the Astros. That ribby in the first inning on the slate of Carlos Correa as he grounded into a fielder's choice. The M's quickly back with 2 of their own. Big time swing by Altuve. That first inning base hit leaves Jose 7 hits shy of 200. And you know he'd love to get there once again.
Those are good milestones to have.
In the air down the right side, slicing and back to the seats. Xander Bogaerts starts the day tied with Altuve, leading the league in hits. A couple pretty good bats at the top of things in terms of hits.
Just be pretty impressive to have Altuve, after winning the batting title last year, come back and back it up with another 200+ hit season. Looks pretty good on the resume.
Doesn't hurt as your leadoff man either. I'm good with this lineup right now with Altuve in the top spot, and then you get Springer out of that spot and somewhere where he's going to be more inclined to drive in runs along with Correa, and then mix it as you want from that point on. And that's what George is starting to do. 93 hits now for Jose, and you see Bogaerts has picked one up. Ian Kinsler has had a pretty darn good year with the Tigers. Stay loose, guys.
Goodness.
Don't get in the lineup and then wind up getting hurt in the dugout. Well, he's got the moves ready to go.
Better. That ball was a scalded dog coming into that dugout, sitting there having a nice relaxing evening, and just wear it.
Altuve led the league, in fact the major leagues, with 225 hits last year. Led the league in stolen bases with 56. Had that top batting average at 341. Off speed gets him. Second out, both strikeouts here in the third inning. 3 on the night for Nuno.
Both on good sliders to right-handed hitters. Kind of that three-quarter delivery. Good late action on it. Getting Marisnick and Altuve to swing over the top.
So Springer stands in with 2 outs, and what a swing. That is some kind of hack. Try to pick up that run when the first two hitters go down. Shot through the hole on the left side. Second hit of the night for George Springer. He's 2 for 2. 2-out single brings up Carlos Correa. And he looks like he is really feeling it right now.
No, my thoughts exactly. We're watching the same guy, obviously, but the way he's got that leg kick going and the way the barrel's coming through the strike zone right now, it is a beautiful thing. First pitch was a fastball. This one was a changeup, but he's right on it.
He's hit a lot of balls hard the other way. Had a double down the right field side late last night. There's that Angels score leading 2-0 over the Athletics in the third inning now.
Come on, Elephants.
Angels came on and beat the Elephants last night. 1-run victory. What is that, 9 out of 10 right now?
Yeah,
for the Angels in 1-run ball games.
Up in a tree.
10-1 on the month in 1-run games. Correa. It's a pop on the right side. Robinson Cano sprints to the spot and makes the play. That'll do it for the Astros. 2-out single by Springer. He's stranded. 2-1. Mariners on top. The Astros honor Nolan Ryan by retiring his number 34. The Express struck out 1,866 hitters and won 106 games in 9 seasons while pitching with the Astros. Who's that catcher?
Did you grab that one?
It was one that I was able to hang on to.
It's kind of cool.
Nolan and Ruth Ryan. A great couple. What a great player.
Yeah, he was all right.
Your standards are very high, I can tell.
Yeah, he lived up to them.
Top of the order for Seattle here in the third inning. Ketel Marte had a base hit and scored in the first inning. Like the Astros, who had hits from Altuve and Springer to start the game, Seattle had hits from their top two guys, Marte and Seager. Bunting back toward the mound. Fires, throws a good sinker to first for the first out.
Man, he picked that up and went all Pat Neshek on the throw to first.
Strikeout leaders all time. No one is ever going to have a chance to catch Nolan Ryan. You kidding me? With
I don't
all
think
the
any of those guys on that list are going to get caught. King Felix has a chance, maybe.
You know what? That's a good point. Bert Blyleven may be saved for that 5 spot all time. The way
those are ridiculous.
The
numbers.
limitations are being placed out there, but
no, that's exactly what it is.
1 out for Kyle Seager. But that spread that Nolan has between 1 and 2 is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave any doubt.
Seager had a double and scored in the first inning. Still 2-0 Angels over the Oakland A's. That in the fourth inning. And they're in the 8th inning in Arlington with the Rangers leading the Tigers 7-6. Good fastball on the hands.
Remember last time we came through here, we talked about King Felix and the strikeout numbers. Somebody published an article saying that he would have to strike out his career high every season for 14 seasons to get anywhere in the vicinity of those guys.
That's pretty remarkable. I mean, it says a lot about what that generation of pitchers was able to do. But
absolutely,
you know, part of that statement, though, about King Felix is he doesn't get the same number of innings that those guys back then were getting.
No, that is exactly right.
One out here in the 3rd inning. 1-2 the count on Seager. Seager was an all-star last year. He was 20th in the MVP voting. Picked up a Gold Glove at 3rd base. And while doing all of that, drove in 96 runs with 25 homers. He's hit that home run mark again, 25 on the season. 4th straight year now with Seattle hitting at least 20 home runs. And in just his 5th year in the major leagues, 5 home runs shy of 100. So make no mistake, this guy is a genuine threat as a 3rd baseman.
He's got a little brother down in LA that looks like he's got a pretty good hack too.
He's gotten off to a great start, hasn't he? Playing shortstop.
Yep. Big kid, Correa size too.
Yeah, we're talking LA, the Dodgers LA. But
oh yeah,
is he that kind of size?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get confused about the teams
that
in
was
LA.
My bad.
Okay.
Yep. There is another team in the vicinity of LA.
Fly ball to left. That's in the gap in left center. Marwin has been busy. 2nd out of the inning. It'll bring up Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz had a sac fly driving in a run in the 1st. That was the 1st Seattle run. Cruz with 91 RBIs. Actually, I find that number a little bit low considering the number of home runs for Cruz. 43 bombs, 91 ribbies, while hitting .304. So he's been a quality hitter all the way through.
That's what makes last night so shocking. 4 punch outs.
Fires gets in front, 0-2. 240 career home runs for Nelson Cruz. There's the focus of Mr. Mike Fiers. It's that little cutter Blummer was talking about. It's Nelson Cruz, 3 consecutive years as an all-star, 4 times on his career. 2-2 count as he bats with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
High fastball. Does he come back with the breaking ball?
I think he's got a really nice combination, especially with that high heater and the over-the-top curveball. There it is. Freezes Cruz. 5th strikeout in the series now for Nelson Cruz. A 1-2-3 3rd inning. We've played 3. It's 2-1. Seattle leading it.
157 games. 11 players with 10-plus home runs, tied most all time with the 2004 Toronto Blue Jays. 6 players with 15-plus. First Astros team since 2001 to put those numbers up. These guys are doing some serious damage. 48.5% of the runs scored via the home run. Second highest all time. And their record, how about that? 1 home run, 70 wins. Gets better and better, 3 and 2+. So when these guys are swinging the bat well, they hit 3 home runs last night, won the ball game. The record with 3+ home runs, 28 and 3.
There's a drive to left field off the end of the bat, and Gaddis was not able to get enough as he flies out to left field. First out here in the 4th inning. 2-1 Seattle. Jed Lowry comes to the plate. Evan Gaddis, by the way, the leader on that home run list. The Astros start the day in 2nd in the major leagues in home runs, 3 back of the Toronto Blue Jays, and that's a crushing bunch. Lowry takes a strike. He flied to center field to end the 1st inning.
That's that record we're talking about, Ash.
Yeah.
Man, 2+, 3+, those are fantastic numbers. So
go ahead and hit the home runs, I guess.
Yeah, it gives you an idea what they need to do in order to win, huh?
You know, last night was kind of the summation of the way things have gone this year. Good starting pitching, the bullpen came through, and the home run bats carried the night.
And for me, that's, I know I've said it a lot, but pitching, defense, timely hitting, and those home runs are timely because they need to get it. The pitching has actually kept them in the games.
Lowry grounds to short. 2 outs in the 4th inning. It'll bring up Chris Carter. See if we can take a glance at that scoreboard, and we'll look at the 2 important games for the Astros. The Angels hosting Oakland. Angels on top 2-0 in the 4th inning. They're in the 8th inning now. Texas Rangers still leading over Detroit 7-6. White Sox have defeated Kansas City 4-2. By the way, Kansas City, they're easily going to go into the postseason, no question about that. But are they starting to swoon a little bit right now as they head toward the finish line?
I don't know. A lot of people are going to say they've already clinched, so they're not putting too much pressure on themselves. And Yost might be giving some guys certain days off here and there. They lost their closer, but they get to put Wade Davis out there, so you're really not losing much traction there. But it does kind of shorten that bullpen a little bit, but I don't know if there's much panic out there.
You know, as good as Kansas City's been at home this year, and they've been great, 51 and 30, the Astros are 2 games better at home. Carter down on strikes. That's 4 on the night for Nuno. A 1-2-3 4th inning. A 2-1 Seattle lead.
excitement of cheering on the Houston Astros while throwing a birthday party at Minute Maid Park. For more information, visit Astros.com or call 713-259-8996. Ash.
Thank you, Julia. It's been a gorgeous couple of days here in Seattle. Mariners lead 2-1. Robinson Cano, the cleanup man, leads off in the 4th inning, followed by 5-hitter Seth Smith and then Mark Trumbo. Cano has hit safely in 11 straight. Made the final out of last night's game, striking out kind of surprisingly with not a good swing. He hit some balls on the button over the course of the night.
He didn't look comfortable at all against Gregerson.
Cano had a sac fly. Where was that one?
That was too good a pitch. You can't give it to him.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Paul Emmel says that's a ball.
Where do you want it?
It was a little bit of one of those backhand pushing it out of the zone catches for Hank Conger, but I mean, really, as an umpire, you're looking at the pitch.
You would hope.
Okay, well, I was, yeah.
I know what you're saying.
I was given best case scenario.
Wishful thinking on your part.
Got that right. Cano now with 74 RBIs. Honestly, sometimes you wonder. You sit back there and catch, and you see pitches, and that one was close, but you just wonder. I mean, really, what's going on?
How frustrated is a catcher? I mean, you caught a lot of pitches. I'm sure you caught pitches that were in the zone, and the umpire goes, "Yeah, I just missed that one."
I've seen him right down the middle, and it's like it freezes everybody. Down that left field side, Lowry, the only guy on the left side of the infield. He makes the play, 1 out in the 4th.
Did you just tip your cap and go, "Hey, get him next time, kid"?
Not always. I mean, there were times when you literally you say, "What?"
Yeah, that's not an excuse. You can't say that. Yeah, that's illegal. Shame on you.
Did I miss something here? Of course, then you've got the hitter staring at you like, oh, what are you talking about? That ball was way outside.
Oh, I've said that plenty of times.
Seth Smith, strikeout victim in the 1st inning. Fires has struck out 4 on the night. Over the top Yacker working pretty well. The Seattle Mariners 11th in the league in batting average at .249, 11th in on base, and 7th in slugging. So they hit the long ball pretty well. They're 5th in home runs. They are 12th, however, in runs scored, and haven't pitched well. 12th in team ERA. So it's all added up to a very disappointing year for a lot of folks who thought Seattle and their Mariners were going to be on the top of the heap in the American League West. Robinson Cano and Nelson Cruz in that offense.
Yeah, I still think it's that bullpen for the Mariners. They were lights out last year, and this year just completely imploded.
To me, that's a big point, though. Just because on one year you have an aspect of your team that performs really well, yeah, for me, it doesn't provide promises for next year.
Yeah, it's tough to bank on that year in, year out.
Smith fouls it off again.
It's just amazing. Didn't Fernando Rodney lead the American League in saves last year?
Where is he now?
Good question. Yeah, he's with the Cubbies right now, and he's going to end up maybe getting into the playoffs.
Have those Cubs surprised you?
A little bit. I know they're good. They're much like the Astros for me in the sense that they've got great young talent, but to put it together this quickly surprises me.
They start the day at 91 and 65. You look at that National League Central with the Cardinals, Pirates, and Cubs. That is a really terrific division. Of course, then it falls off when you start talking about the other clubs, Milwaukee and Cincinnati. How much do you put on Joe Madden with the Cubs in that turnaround this year?
I'm going to give him some credit. He's got a pretty good track record of winning, but for me, it is tough playing in Chicago as a Cub. You're playing a ton of day games. You go on the road, play a bunch of night games, you come back, you got to adjust to waking up early, playing day games. So here's my theory, is that they've got good young guys, so they adjust a little bit quicker than some of those older guys that they've had in the past to adjust to that difference of playing so many day games. A little more energy out of those guys.
High chopper. Fires, comes on, applies a tag. It is a fair ball. The call made by the home plate umpire Paul Emmel. And that'll do it for Seth Smith as he eventually taps out after putting on quite a battle with Mike Fiers.
Yeah, you don't hear me say this too often, but that was a pretty athletic play by Mike Fiers.
After a stumble. Watch him stumble coming toward the line. Yeah. So yeah, that's tough right there.
Had to regroup, catch it on the fly, and tag instantly. Nice play.
And by the way, that play in front of the corner bags is the home plate umpires to make. And so that call by Paul Emmel, the home plate umpire, is correct. 2 outs, bases empty for Mark Trumbull.
Slow down, check it out, see what Paul Emmel saw. Ball caught in fair territory, and just follow through and make the tag.
You know what we just saw there? Something that maybe hasn't happened all year. For some period of time, the base runner was in the base path.
Especially going down first base. You don't see that too often.
Oh, nobody runs in that path. Why is it that players tend to run in the grass going down the line? One hopper to first. Carter makes the play. And that'll do it. A 1-2-3 fourth inning. That's 8 in a row retired now by Mike Fiers. 2-1. Seattle leads it. The wire in Arlington. Rangers leading over the Tigers 7-6. Ian Kinsler at the plate, and 2 runners on for Kinsler. First and third, and a couple of strikes on Kinsler. So if we can keep an eye on that game, as we also keep an eye on Marwin Gonzalez trying to start things here for the Astros in the 5th inning. 7, 8, 9 coming up. Marwin hit one sharply, but a nice play at third by Seager to get him. That coming in the 2nd inning. And it's over. Texas Rangers have beaten the Tigers. Tollison getting that final out for the Rangers as they win it 7-6. So the Rangers, who fell last night, put a little heat on tonight. They are presently 2 games in front of the Astros.
Took a great catch to do it, too. Kinsler drove the ball to right center field. Well, they were putting the pressure on. But we keep talking about it. The Astros control of their own destiny.
There's a drive to left field. This one is not coming back. See ya. Marwin Gonzalez has hit another. And the Astros have tied it at 2 for Marwin Gonzalez. Home run number 12. And this right-handed hack is turning into a long ball threat.
What is going on? I mean, he is laying it on people. That's a bomb. Leg kick and just buggy whip it out of here. He knew it the instant he made contact.
How are you going to keep that bat out of the lineup?
Don't. Man.
So nobody out, a run in. Hank Conger at the plate, strikeout victim in the second. That was legit. Maybe a little bit of a starter down in that Astros dugout. 0-2 the count on Hank. Conger hitting .218, but does have 11 home runs and a couple of grand slams on the year. There's your newfound power hitter. He's been utility player deluxe this year. Shot down the right side, slicing, and drops fair in the corner. Hank Conger has a ground rule double as this kicks up and out of play. So a home run and double for the Astros to start the 5th inning. It brings up Jake Marisnick.
Margot can't get enough of this. Sees it and just unleashes the fury barrel flying through that strike zone. Look at the extension after contact. Leads to a lot of that pop, getting that distance, launching it over the bullpens out there in left field. Bracamonte with another home run catch. Then Conger backing it up with a double down the right field line. What's going on around here?
Some serious hacking going on here in the 5th inning. Catcher Hicks goes out to the mound, chats with Nuno just briefly. What's the assignment right now for Jake Marisnick, even with the 0-1 count?
Go the other way. Find a way to get Conger to third base. Get him 90 feet closer. Stay up the middle. There's a huge hole going up the middle. I think the Mariners are anticipating the bunt. Corners are in. You look at the position of Robinson Cano, that's not a normal standard second base position, but he'll back up with 2 strikes. Or at least he should.
Well, I wonder if Cano is shallowed up to try to get that out at third base. Moot point now as Marisnick strikes out. First out of the inning.
Toyota drive to the playoffs. Rangers pick up that half game while this game is still going on. We will take a look at it, a full 2 games, but the Astros still have a chance to cut that to 1.5. Picked up a game on the Yankees, getting 3 back of them for that first wild card. The Angels will not go away. They continue to win. That's going to be crazy end of the season between the Rangers and Angels. 4 games.
6-0 Angels now. Jose Altuve is 1 for 2 on the night. Hit number 193 on the year. The Astros could use one right about now. Albert Pujols is 2 for 2 with a ribby in that Angels lead. David Murphy, who had the game winner last night, has driven in a run with a hit. Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, and Johnny Giovatello with doubles. Eric Ibar with a triple. So the Angels, who really had not had much of a season until just recently, they are turning it on. Altuve gets jammed and very angry as he tosses his bat away. That's the second out. And now it's up to George Springer, who's swinging it very well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I knew it was coming from you. That's just me anticipating what's coming. By the way, that's Nick Tropiano on the hill for the Angels tonight, shutting down the Oakland A's. Yeah, the way Springer's swinging it in the first two at bats tonight with hits in each case. This is one of those scenarios where that'll be a tough decision for Lloyd McClendon. Who do you want to face, Springer or Correa?
I think that's a beautiful thing for the Houston Astros, is having two guys that are.
There's a shot to the gap in right center. This will easily score a run. Third hit of the night for Springer. He's into second base, and he'll stop there. A big 2-out double, and the Astros take the lead now in the fifth inning, 3-2.
That is a bat that can propel the Astros into the postseason. He is swinging the bat well. This is the same pitch, virtually the same swing that he launched into right center field for a home run last night, but is so strong to contact and stays through that baseball. This is an absolute laser into right center field.
Yeah, he left no doubt with this shot.
Big 2-out RBI too.
Those are huge. And now Carlos Correa, a shot to pick up another one of those. Carlos is 0 for 2, but has driven in a run. Correa with 62 RBIs in that rookie season. Didn't start until June. Would not surprise me. I'll know your thoughts if Correa next year turned into quickly a guy that drives in 100 runs.
No, he's gonna get Rookie of the Year votes this year. Next year, it's going to turn into MVP votes.
I agree.
Me.
Yeah, Francisco Lindor, the shortstop for the Indians, has played great, and he's taken away the sure thing tag on Carlos Correa for being the Rookie of the Year this year. But I still think he's going to get it.
And what's great about Lindor and Correa is they're both doing it for contending teams. Youngsters putting up great numbers when it counts.
.22 doubles on the year to go with the 21 home runs, 62 RBIs, and in my mind has played a great shortstop. There are your two guys, the leading candidates for the Rookie of the Year in the American League this year.
It's pretty darn similar, isn't it?
Power game clearly on the side of Carlos Correa.
And Carlos doing it in the 3-hole. You know, he is in a pressure batting or spot in the batting order for a contending team too. And he's producing big time, not to mention what he's doing on the defensive side.
But the games played are almost identical, one apart right now.
That's crazy to see, isn't it?
Yeah, you see one guy, Lindor, is hitting for average. Carlos Correa, more the power game. They appeal, palms down. And now 3-2 on Correa. Evan Gattis waiting on deck. Any surprises here that Seattle's coming right after Correa?
Well, they're testing the youngster.
Well, most people that have tried to test him this year have learned a lesson. He gets jammed and hits it on the ground. Cano with the play, and that'll do it. The Astros pick up 2 in a big fifth inning and leave a man. Number 12 on the year, no doubt shot for Marwin Gonzalez.
lead the Astros have here in the bottom of the fifth. Come get a behind-the-scenes look at Minute Maid Park. Learn all about the ballpark by visiting areas like the historic Union Station, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more. For more information, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-8996 to schedule your tour today.
Bottom of the fifth inning. Leading it off, 7-hitter Logan Morrison hits one high in the air to left field. Marwin Gonzalez, the big power hitter, makes the play, out number one in the fifth. We had a great shot of Marwin there coming in the dugout being congratulated by his teammates, and Marwin looked like the guy who maybe had just hit his, I don't know, 400th, 500th home run.
He's feeling it.
James Jones at the plate. Grounded to short. Nice play by Correa in the second inning. Lot of speed. 27 bags last year. Caught just one time. Can't get on base this year. So the Rangers have won, and for the moment have picked up a half game on the Astros. (7-6) that final. There's Nuno, who's been touched up by these power bats from Houston.
It's an interesting conversation.
Angels lead 6-0 over Oakland. A game in the fifth inning. And again, Mark Tropiano, former Astro, doing the work there for the Angels. Off speed, gets the strikeout. They'll record the out down at first base. Second out of the inning. 5 strikeouts now for Mike Fiers.
Pitching well, getting in that groove. Kind of eerily similar to what happened yesterday. Lance McCullers struggled in that first inning. Proceeded to get things under control and go after guys, but we're seeing some good breaking balls from Fiers.
Same score as last night's victory for the Astros, 3-2 Houston. I kind of want to go back to that top of the fifth inning. Not only the Marwin home run, but the big 2-out double by George Springer to plate a run.
It was just a great at bat, great piece of hitting.
That's that RBI guy that I think we both feel the Astros need. It's not in the category of, boy, that would be a nice addition. It's a must for this team.
Well, and it finally looks like George is getting his legs back under him since coming back from the DL. He's starting to look normal. You can see when he first came back, kind of fighting his swing a little bit, fighting the timing of the swing. But now, in this series, and he's had some history here, and you wonder if that plays into it a little bit, knowing how comfortable he is swinging it here in Seattle.
By the way, George now with 17 doubles, 39 RBIs. A lot of talk this year about Springer drawing the walks, and it's led to an on-base percentage of .358. But along with that, and you'll draw the walks if you're driving the baseball, there's no doubt about that. Driving in the runs, certainly key. Second strikeout of the inning for Mike Fiers, and a 1-2-3 frame. That's 11 in a row retired by Fiers. 2-5, 3-2 Houston. Ball en Route Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Downtown area here in Seattle, in the ballpark just down the hill. Beautiful ballpark. Right side by side with where the Seattle Seahawks play.
Yeah, they've done a good job. This city's gorgeous.
Yeah. You can see the weather the last couple of days, just spectacular. Well, 70, 72 degrees.
I think every time we've had in the last 3 years maybe one series where it's actually been cold. AT&T call to the bullpen for the Seattle Mariners. J.C. Ramirez, youngster, getting the September call-up, making his 6th appearance. Comes on in relief of Vidal Nuno, who felt the brunt of the big barrels of the Houston Astros. Only thrown in 5 1/3 innings. 2 punch-outs, 4 walks in that 5 1/3. So game plan is to keep JC in that strike zone.
Came up originally last year with the New York Yankees. Pitched in 8 games for the Bronx Bombers. 16 overall in the major leagues now. Also pitched in 3 with the Yankees this year before coming over to the Seattle Mariners. Evan Gattis, the cleanup man, is 0 for 2 tonight. The Astros have just 6 hits, but they have made the most of those. 1 home run tonight. Evan Gattis with a 2-1 count. It'll be Gattis and then Jonathan Villar, who, and we didn't mention it, came on defensively last half inning for the Astros. Jed Lowry out of the ball game. There goes the bat.
There goes the War Club. Come on. Astro fan reaching over and grabbing the stick. I'm not sure I'd take anything away from Evan Gattis. 4.
You think in the end you'd concede to him?
Yeah, I'd let him do whatever he needs to do. I hope that's not the one he hit the dinger with last night.
Does he use redwood?
Might be petrified wood. Oh, that booing is because the bat boy went down and snagged the bat from the fan.
Make the bat boy be the bad guy. Who is that bad boy?
That's Charlie. Across the way, drove over from Bellevue. Good job.
Bellevue is, that's where we stayed last time in town.
Beautiful
right?
area, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good restaurants over there too. But sometimes, you know, gotta be the bad guy, like you said.
Gattis draws the leadoff walk. He's aboard for Jonathan Villar.
Another walk for J.C. Ramirez. Charlie hustles back in.
Did you say Charlie Hustle?
Yeah.
Okay.
JC's going to come at you with a fastball. It says he throws around 95 miles an hour. Also got a slider and a split finger.
So Jonathan Villar gets himself an at-bat. 51st game of the year. What's a long season, and sometimes you forget about a guy being there early on in the year. But when he's gotten a chance to play, he's done some pretty good things. Hit .277, a couple of home runs, 5 doubles, a triple. Chris Carter waits on deck.
Ooh. Pretty good pitch.
Villar takes a good look down to third base. Where's that bottom of the knees?
Not sure it exists, to be honest with you.
Sometimes some umpires and some not so much. And I wonder if Hicks went out to the mound just to say, hey, look, it hasn't been a strike tonight.
Yeah. It's not you, it's him.
You always use that line. 3-0 the count. Leadoff walk to Gaddis. Nobody out and a 3-0 on VR. Got to call that one. And Chris Carter waiting on deck. What a boost this would be to come in and win the first 2 against the Mariners. Hit pretty well to center field. Jones going back, not going to get there. Up against the wall. Gaddis digging it to third. And he's being waved home. And the relay is dropped in center field. And that enables Gaddis to score the 4th Houston run of the night. As they now lead at 4-2. RBI double Jonathan VR.
That ball was ripped. VR coming off the bench. Good hitters count. Sit on that one fastball. When you get it, you square it up like this. This is an absolute seed over the head of James Jones. And I think as soon as Evan Gaddis saw the numbers on James Jones' backs, he took off running. We know that Gaddis has the wheels to cover 3 bags pretty easy. He did it right there.
That might have been intriguing at the plate if that relay had been handled in center field. And now the pitching coach, Rick Waite's out there to talk things over.
I love the way Gary Pettis tests defense. He goes right after him and dares him to throw guys out.
For VR, his 6th double and RBI number 10. Still nobody out for Carter. And he tries to take a shot to right field and makes life tough on some of the folks down that right field side. Preston Tucker has grabbed a bat. He's waiting on deck in that Marwin Gonzalez spot. And remember, Marwin is having no problems with that wrist from the right side. It's from the left side that he's still unable to swing it. Watch Evan Gaddis as he comes around on this shot by VR.
He knows it's going all the way to the wall. You see him pick up Gary Pettis early, and he is trucking through that wave home from Gary Pettis.
Carter does not go through. Carter's made what appears to be a genuine effort here in this at bat to shoot something to right.
I agree, he sure has.
Ramirez, after coming set, steps off. That bat went through, and home plate umpire takes it. Paul Emmel with the call. First out of the inning.
Looking for the perfect location for your special event? Minute Maid Park provides elegant event spaces and high-end entertainment in one of Houston's most iconic sporting venues. Learn more about how you can have your special event at Minute Maid Park by calling 713-259-8800 or by visiting astros.com/special events.
And now it's Preston Tucker. So he will be the first official pinch hitter as he stands in. 1 out, VR at second.
Huh. Good take.
95 on that. Is that same one down around the knees?
I don't know. Blind, like a blind spot down there.
You just give on that one now, huh?
I don't get it. I want to go hit.
There's a fly ball to left field. Routine in left for Smith. Tagging his VR. He'll stay there on the second out of the inning. And it brings up Hank Conger, who now turns around and bats left-handed. Conger had a big double that came in the 5th inning. Scored on that 2-out double by George Springer. The double by Conger, his 11th on the year. Rangers victorious tonight. Angels lead at 7-1 over Oakland now in the 5th inning. High fly ball to right field toward the line. Trumbo there in foul territory to make the play. And that'll do it. The Astros pick up another insurance run, though, in the 6th inning on that double by VR. It's 4-2 Houston.
Back to work here, allowing only 1 run. Coming over in that trade with Carlos Gomez, these former Brewers pitched in some big important games for the Brewers last September. If you remember, the Brewers led the NL Central for most of the year and then really struggled down the stretch. But Mike Fiers, 6-4 when the team was struggling around him, the starting staff with a .415, his ERA 2.09. So coming up big when the team needed him most. And here he is again for the Houston Astros, and he's put on some really solid starts for the Astros since he's been in that uniform for them. But A.J. Hinch mentioned that they knew this about him. They knew his stuff was good. That's why they wanted to get him. But they also knew his history of the big games that he's pitched in, guys.
Thanks, Julia. Very solid, including that absolutely terrific no-hitter. He gets in front 0-2 on the leadoff man, Ketel Marte. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's Marte, Seager, and Nelson Cruz coming up. Fiers has retired 11 consecutive. The Astros have won 3 straight. Mariners have lost 6 straight. No reason to break streaks right about now. Chris Woodward down at first base, showing some of the skills that made him a longtime major league infielder.
Good ball player, good guy.
I've watched him with his coaching stuff going on, pregame stuff, and he just looks like he's really into it. Marte fouls it off. Marte had a big home run for Seattle last night. Looked like a real dagger for the Astros, but then came Chris Carter and his home run bat. stays up just a bit. Changeup has been a bigger pitch for Fiers tonight than typically you might see.
Yeah, that's not the trajectory you're looking for.
There's that change again. Two and two the count. 89 pitches now for Fiers. Astros #1 in the American League with that team ERA coming in at 3.56. I know these kinds of at-bats used to bother me as a catcher. For pitchers, they have to be nightmares.
They're bugging me right now. Those are good pitches to hit, and he just keeps slicing under them.
Not this time. Fly ball to left center field. Marisnick comes on. Out #1. Going to bring up third baseman Kyle Seager. He has doubled and flied out and scored a run. That was the second Seattle run in the first inning as they took a 2-1 lead at that point. One home run in the game, that hit by Marwin Gonzalez in the 5th inning. And by the way, Preston Tucker is now your left fielder. Two-1 lead for the, or make that a 2-run lead for the Astros in the 6th. Shift on for Seager, leaving only Jonathan Villar on that left side of the infield. It's really a beautiful ballpark here in Seattle. This ball is lashed into right field. Springer cuts it off. A one-out single for Seager. And that snaps a 12 in a row retired by Mike Fiers. Dodgers lead the Giants 4-0 in the 6th inning. Milwaukee on top of the Padres 4-3 in the 6th. White Sox down Kansas City 4-2. That's a final. Angels up 7-1 over Oakland in the 6th inning. That Texas win over Detroit, a big one, 7-6 final. Little chopper goes foul off the bat of Nelson Cruz. Cruz trying to win a 2nd straight home run title. Cincinnati being shut out by the Cubs 4-0 in the 8th inning. The Mets defeated by the Phillies 4-3, and the Yankees go down at the hands of the Boston Red Sox 10-4.
Some action in the Astros bullpen.
Joe Thatcher, the left-hander, getting it loose, and Chad Qualls, the right-hander.
95 pitches for Fiers. Location eluding him a little bit here.
1-2 now on Cruz.
Good job of pulling the string.
In that Texas win over Detroit, it was Cole Hamels once again picking up his 6th win to 1 loss. And Hamels got hit around a bit. He allowed 6 runs over 6 innings. Shin-Soo Choo had a big home run, his 21st for the Rangers. It's the 6th time in this 2 games to this point that Nelson Cruz has gone down on strikes. Second time tonight. That's 2 down for Robinson Cano.
Keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Visit MLB.TV today.
Mike Fiers trying to get through the 6th. Robinson Cano with a sac fly, RBI number 74. That in the first inning, and then popped to third in the 4th. Rams one to the gap in right center field and deep. Back at the wall. We're tied. A 2-out, 2-run home run in the 6th inning as Robinson Cano connects for his 20th on the year. And a 4-4 game in the 6th.
Disappointing. Not really a mistake from Mike Fiers. Down and in. Lefties usually have a tendency to like to hit that pitch, but you can see that he misses his spot by a good 1.5 feet. Conger set up on that outside corner, but down in that happy zone where Cano was sitting on that heater, he's hitting .432 in that down and in spot. So clearly not much thought behind Cano. He just has to react.
So that's a huge swing, obviously, for the Seattle Mariners. All even once again. Seth Smith at the plate. Seattle now gets a right-hander loose in their pen. 2-0 on Smith. The Astros need a win tonight to keep pace with the Texas Rangers, trying to stay a game and a half back. Rangers play Thursday, the off day for the Astros this week. And the Angels are right on the Astros' heels. Angels with the same number of losses as the Astros. They're right at 74 in that loss column. But one more game to play than Houston. 3-1 the count. Right hand hitting Mark Trumbo waiting on deck. This could be the final man of the night for Mike Fiers to face. And the 2-out walk. First walk of the night issued by Mike Fiers, and that's going to bring AJ out of the dugout. He is not pointed to the bullpen. And now he does. So it will be Chad Qualls coming on. He'll face Mark Trumbo in the 6th inning in a 4-4 game. And a very frustrated Mike Fiers heads to the dugout. We'll be right back. Robinson Cano, his 20th on the year, 6th time now that Robinson Cano has hit at least 20 home runs in his great career. And Chad Qualls comes on to work it here in the 6th.
Take a look at some of the numbers, making his 58th appearance. 58 appearances, only 49 innings. He's got 45 punch outs in those 49 innings. Control is quite good with that power sinker slider combination. Getting that whip back down around close to that 1 mark. Last time he pitched was on the 26th against Texas in Houston. Only went a third of an inning, throwing 5 pitches.
Second pitcher of the night for the Astros. Four runs, 7 hits, an error for the Astros. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Seattle Mariners. Smith aboard at first base with that 2-out walk. And Qualls immediately in the strike zone. Qualls has allowed just 1 run over his last 7 outings. Ground ball through the right side. Smith will stop at second base. That's the 3rd Seattle hit here in the inning. And now runners at first and second for the left-hand hitting Logan Morrison. Joe Thatcher still up and throwing in the Astros pen, and he's going to be summoned. A.J. Hinch once again right out of the dugout. He brings on the left-hander. And so Chad Qualls faces just 1. Mark Trumbo as he gets the base hit. And again, we will be right back.
At 4, and Houston Methodist helps us get to know the skipper, A.J. Hinch, who was named the Astros manager on this day 1 year ago. Of course, attended Stanford University, a catcher there, and then a 3rd-round pick in the 1996 Major League Draft. Made his debut with the Oakland A's. Ash?
Thanks, Julia. That's intriguing. On this date, as the Astros still have 4 more games after tonight's game. And tonight's a really big one. And now it's Joe Thatcher coming on to get a big out, but he'll face a pinch hitter, Franklin Gutierrez, for the Mariners.
Thatcher's numbers doing pretty good here in the month of September. That's what you want to see. 2 1/3 innings pitched, no earned runs.
Runners at first and second. The 2-out walk to Smith has him at second. Mark Trumbo with that base hit through the right side is at first base. Franklin Gutierrez has played in just 54 games. But in those 54 games, 11 doubles and a .312 batting average with 15 home runs. Well, he's put up some numbers in a short amount of time.
Oh, he can hit. Key to his production is just staying healthy.
Thatcher unscored upon in his last 5. Pitch is hit to left field and deep in the corner. Preston Tucker makes the running grab. Nice play by Tucker. Thatcher comes on and gets the out of Gutierrez, the pinch hitter, and that does it for Seattle. But on the 2-run home run number 20 for Robinson Cano, they have tied it at 4.
Tickets are on sale now. Guarantee your seats for a potential 2015 postseason run by reserving your 2016 season tickets today. Visit astros.com/season tickets or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Ash.
Way to go, Julia. We are now in a 4-4 tie. And pitcher number 3 comes on for Seattle as they bring on Carson Smith to work it here in the 7th.
Big right-hander making his 69th appearance. He's got 13 saves on the year. Slings a fastball in there about 93 miles an hour. Also has a changeup and a slider. 90 strikeouts in 67 1/3 innings pitched.
Got some defensive changes as well behind Smith, as Gutierrez, who came on as a pinch hitter, now takes over in left field. Seth Smith, who was in left, moves to right field, and Mark Trumbo is now the first baseman. That's a brand new ball game. 4-4. 7 hits for Houston, 6 for Seattle. Home runs playing large. Marwin Gonzalez hit one for the Astros, a solo job in the 5th. Robinson Cano, huge 2-run home run in the 6th. Jake Marisnick has struck out twice this evening.
How about we get off the schneid with these solo home runs and get some base runners on and then start dropping bombs? Sound like a plan?
I'm not going to argue with you one bit.
You shouldn't.
Are you getting chilly?
I am.
One hopper to third. That's a fair ball. And out number 1. Marisnick 0 for 3 on the night. Back to the top with Jose Altuve. Altuve's 1 for 3. Had a solid base hit back in the 1st inning and wound up scoring in that inning on a Fielder's choice ground ball hit by Carlos Correa. George Springer had a hit to aid in that run. In fact, Springer 3 for 3 on his night. Altuve is going to have to start finding some multi-hit games right about now. 4 more after tonight's game. And he needs 7 hits to get to 200.
It's going to happen. Even to some of the best hitters in the league. Getting word that Jed Lowry left with left quad soreness.
Yeah, that could be a problem for the remaining 4 games after tonight, where Jonathan Villar came on and had a big hit in the ballgame tonight, lining a double, batting from the left side over the center fielder's head. That drove in a run. Two and 2 now on Jose. Lance McCullers picked up the W last night. Ground ball. One big hop for Seager. Second out of the inning. And that'll bring up George Springer, who is really swinging it now. A couple of singles and a double. That double plated a run, came with 2 outs in the 5th inning. That was a big one. That made it 3-2, putting the Astros on top. They would extend that by a run on the home run by Marwin Gonzalez. Or excuse me, they extended it on the double by Jonathan Villar, plating Evan Gattis, who had walked to lead off the 6th inning. Little tapper, third base side, goes foul. But then Robinson Cano got in the act. Texas Rangers winners tonight. Angels leading over Oakland 7-1 in the 7th as Springer goes down on strikes. So George is now 3 for 4 on the night, a 1-2-3 7th for Smith. Astros and Mariners were in the bottom of the 7th inning now, as Joe Thatcher, who came on to get a big left-handed bat to end the 6th inning. He'll start things in the 7th, facing the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Left-handed bat of James Jones was due up, but Seattle goes to the bench for O'Malley, the right-handed batter, and that brings out A.J. Hinch, who goes to the bullpen once again. So Hinch waits for Lloyd McClendon to make the move to his bench, and then promptly turns to the bullpen once again. So we will be right back. Under the lights here in Seattle. Will Harris now in his 66th outing of the year.
Well, that's all. Well, the numbers are quite good. Those lefties under 135. Another one of those waiver pickups from Jeff Luhnow, doing a great job helping his team win.
Yeah, he's been one of the more valuable guys over the course of the year on this club. Just his 4th year in the big leagues. He's bounced around a little bit, coming up with the Rockies and on to Arizona. But now a big part of the Astros as he brings that 1.85 ERA into action. Sean O'Malley at the plate, switch hitter, turns and bats left-handed. $15,331 on hand tonight. Harris brings the strike. It's a ball and a strike. Jonathan Villar drawn in on the third base side. Same for Carter on the right. O'Malley in 20 games, just 35 at bats, has just 1 extra base hit, a double. What he's done is draw some walks, walking 10 times in those 20 games.
Tardy on that heater.
Managerial wheels have been spinning.
Yeah, that notebook is taking a beating down there.
O'Malley down on strikes. The formality of the out at first base. And out number 1 here in the 7th. 8 strikeouts for Houston pitching tonight. Another pinch hitter now for Seattle as Brad Miller brings his left-handed bat to the plate. He bats for the catcher John Hicks.
Will Harris throws that breaking ball so hard. See that wrist kind of cocked in, getting on top of that thing, creating that rotation, getting that spin rate up.
Miller takes a strike. Miller with 10 home runs on the year, 45 ribbies. Saw him last night in the outfield, played in center to start the night, moved on to right field.
It's a good job by Conger taking the chest protector out of the play.
If that had come all the way up, it would have hit him in the back of the head. Yeah, you always want to make sure and take that chest protector out of play. I remember Harry Spillman got a chance to catch once. I think Harry was an old hitting coach of yours, right?
Oh, yeah. He was one of the more entertaining hitting coaches.
Harry was reminded time and time again, don't turn your head back there.
Oh, man.
Sure enough, he got a foul tip and had turned his head and got hit right in the ear.
Ouch.
Not a good experience. Two and two. Astros struck first, a run in the first inning. Seattle with 2 in that first to go ahead. And then the Astros with 2 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth. But Seattle on the Robinson Cano home run put 2 on the board in the 6th inning. And there's your 4-4 game. As going on down on strikes, Brad Miller, back-to-back strikeouts now for Harris.
Register now for the opportunity to purchase tickets to the potential 2015 Astros postseason games at Minute Maid Park. You won't want to miss the excitement of October baseball. Sign up at astros.com/postseason tickets.
Oh, 0-1 the count. Leadoff man Ketel Marte at the plate. 1 for 3 on the night and scored the first Seattle run in the first inning. And now taking all the way, has an 0-2 count. Conger with a nice job to keep it in front on that potential third strike pitch. Still 7-1 Angels over Oakland in the 7th inning. Marte stays alive with the 1-2 count.
Good pitch. Will Harris has a little bit of cut to it. That outside corner trying to bring it back, freeze the hitter. Just not enough. Might have been a strike last night.
A lot of nights we could probably name.
That was
just under the knees, maybe. Or was it?
No.
Paul Emmel's not going to go to that bottom of the knees area. And Marte coaxes the walk. So he's aboard with 2 outs for Kyle Seager. And now you would figure that running game could come into play. Mike Fiers went 5 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 4 runs. 3 of those earned. Struck out 7 while walking just 1. Chad Qualls gave up a hit without officially getting anybody out. Joe Thatcher worked just a third of an inning. And now Will Harris trying to get through this 7th. Tom Wilhelmsen, the big right-hander, loosening for Seattle in their pen.
Well, I am still baffled that people just don't get up and try and run with Hank Conger behind the plate. The numbers that he has put up, only throwing out 1 base runner all year. And you just expect for me to see base runners leave early in counts in order to steal that bag and give your hitter a couple more pitches to work with.
Logan Morrison picked up the only stolen base for Seattle tonight. That came in the 2nd inning. And now 2-1 the count. Well, I'm with you. And thing is, it hasn't been just a tonight thing for me. It's been
we talked about it plenty. I mean, part of winning ball games is taking advantage of other teams' weaknesses. And this lead for me from Marte doesn't tell me he wants to steal.
Marte held on by Carter. With the stolen base tonight against Conger, that's 1 for 43 on the year and catching somebody trying to steal.
I was lucky enough to play for the Padres when Davey Lopes was the first base coach there, and he would probably be screaming at me right now, take off, go. He was one of the best. He was great. Davey Lopes at first base.
Longtime second baseman for the Dodgers. Back in some days when the Astros were rivals with the Dodgers, and those were really good LA clubs. Of course, Davey played a little bit with the Astros.
But he would just look at you and go now, Jeff. And I'm looking at him, and every time I win, I was safe.
Well, they do not go. Kyle Seager strikes out to end the inning. 3 strikeouts and a walk in the inning recorded by Harris. Still tied at 4. Big right-hander Tom Wilhelmsen will work it to the 3, 4, 5 spots. O'Malley moves to center field. O'Malley, of course, came on as a pinch hitter. It is still Carson Smith. Excuse me. So Wilhelmsen still working it out in the bullpen. So we will await pitcher number 4 on the night for Seattle. Carlos Correa leads it off. Has an RBI on an 0 for 3 night. Takes that first pitch for a strike.
Got some thumpers coming up in this inning. Astros do damage late in games.
Little chopper on the right side. So Carlos Correa is 0 for 4 on his night. Out number 1 as Evan Gattis comes to the plate.
And there it is. Evan Gattis' handle is Oso Blanco. And there he is. I believe that Mike is making the call right here on Oso Blanco.
So now we get pitcher number 4 for Seattle. See, I've just been a little bit ahead a few times tonight. Carson Smith is done with his night. So they'll bring on the righty to take over for the righty to face the righty, and Evan Gattis in a 4-4 tie. Out, but because he knew it was gone, as he hit his 12th on the year. George Springer has had 3 big hits tonight, including this 2-out double to plate a run as Hank Conger comes in to score. Jonathan Villar also adding to the offense. His first at bat on the night, batting left-handed, doubled over Jones in center to play Gattis, but then Robinson Cano with a 4-2 game hits a 2-out home run, and that puts Seattle right back in it. And that's where we stand now, 4-4 in the 8th inning.
On to pitch for the Seattle Mariners is Todd Wilhelmsen. See, he's got a dozen saves under his belt also. That ERA at 3.24, 55 strikeouts and 58 in the 3rd innings pitched.
Evan Gattis has walked in 3 plate appearances and scored after walking as he led off the 6th inning. That was on the double by Jonathan Villar. Little half swing going through as Gattis.
7. Wilhelmsen bringing it.
You've talked about that bullpen for Seattle last year. They brought as much noise as anybody in the league, and of course Kansas City, the other club that had that type of arms. Gattis gets away with one close.
That's in that blind spot.
Yeah.
Or Emma was distracted by the dance moves.
You know, sometimes that's the case too. Close again. It's 2-2 on Evan. One big swing right about now will play.
Saw it last night from Chris Carter. That's all they needed.
Evans stays alive. The Astros start the night with a very impressive 220 home runs. They've added one to it on the Marwin Gonzalez bomb. Toronto Blue Jays started the night leading the major leagues with 3 more dingers, 223. Second out of the inning. Wilhelmsen gets Gaddis on strikes, and now VR comes to the plate. Batting average now at .283 for JV. One for one with that double in the 6th inning. And RBI number 10 in the process. The Astros 6th in the league in runs scored. Ball and a strike on VR. If VR should reach, Chris Carter waits on deck.
He's been getting big homers lately. Good base runner on for him.
Outside corner, the count even at 2-2.
Wow. Been interesting, hadn't it?
You have more fun when you're just guessing, don't you?
Yeah. I'm in the mood for a strike.
So which of those pitches were called strikes?
Yeah.
And the 2-out walk.
Ooh.
So VR's aboard.
Gutsy take.
And now might the Astros employ the running game. Of course, with Carter at the plate, you're one big swing away from something big happening. 23 homers with that 195 batting average. It's been a big month of September for Chris. 5 home runs. And had the home run last night that amounted to the game winner. And close at first base. Along with those 5 home runs for Carter in the month. As you see A.J. Hinch scanning the bench. It is September baseball and a whole lot of bodies available. But Carter also hitting .385 here in September. A couple of doubles to go with the 5 dingers.
Ooh.
Got a pitch to hit right there.
Yeah, it just takes a mistake, but we've got some catcher's interference.
Ah, that's what that other sound was. So
that?
Carter goes on down to first. That's listed as an E2 on the catcher's interference.
Yeah, there's that contact you were talking about. Slow down Chris's bat just a hair. Because like you said, that was a good pitch to hit.
That puts runners at first and second now with 2 outs for Preston Tucker.
Yeah.
who came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning and flied out to left field.
Yeah, that could be a big play, moving VR into scoring position here with 2 outs. A lousy base hit. He's going to score easy.
Tucker hitting .247. 13 dingers on the year. He's in the club. Ball's behind on that 96-mile-an-hour heater. Gets jammed and pops it up. First base side. Trumbull makes the play, and that'll do it. So the Astros get a couple of base runners with 2 outs and strand him. We're still tied at 4. Another gorgeous night in Seattle. Another tough ball game. 4-4 in the 8th. Nelson Cruz, the 3-hitter, followed by Robinson Cano and Seth Smith right here in the heart of the order as Will Harris stays on to work it. 2-hopper to third, VR. And now number 1.
Take a look back at American League teams that have made a 10-plus win improvement going all the way back to 1995. So in the last 20 years, these are teams that have made 10-game improvements throughout the years. Mariners, 99-01. And the Astros there on the bottom, 2013-15. I mean, that's astonishing. Going 51-70, now 83 wins. Pretty impressive stuff, and obviously the most drastic improvement on that list.
A little painful to think back to a couple of years ago, 2013, and that 51-111 record. But how about that jump in 91 to 01 for the Mariners, going up to 116 wins? I think that's the all-time mark, is it not?
I believe so.
Has anybody ever won more games than 116? I don't think so.
I don't know. That led to that 2001 AL West championship, but they
didn't win the World Series.
They got snuffed out in the World Series. They weren't able to pull it off. It's too bad. We're looking comfortable up here, Ash.
We are looking comfortable. It's well, we've stayed a little dapper by staying wrapped up, and I don't know how Julia's surviving the evening.
How comfortable are you with this situation up here?
Well, we got
you got the extinguisher nearby.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to break up the casual thing going on here in the booth with pitcher number 5 on the night for the Astros. Left-hander Oliver Perez comes in from the pen.
Did a good job last night. Pitched it out in that 9th inning. Making his 68th appearance of the season. You can see why he's in there, to face a guy like Robinson Cano with that 182 batting average against. 19 games with the Astros. Hasn't been too pretty, but still has a lengthy track record.
So Oliver Perez on to get the left-handed bat of Robinson Cano. Another left-handed bat waits on deck, Seth Smith. At that point, they go to the right-handed bat of Mark Trumbo. So likely just a hitter or two. We mentioned it, 6 consecutive years now. 20 or more home runs for Robinson Cano on his career. Perez still bringing it pretty well at 93.
Good location also with the velocity.
Oh, and 2 the count on former New York Yankees second baseman, and a great one, former winner of the home run derby at the All-Star game. Gave his dad a pretty ugly looking ERA after that performance. El Tiante bringing it from the left side. Creeping toward midnight in Houston.
Some people hanging on back there, though. Watching their Astros battle.
We love having you with us. Well, we will battle right down to the last out to pick up another W here tonight.
That's one thing Cano does really good, is going the other way. Get some of these flamethrowers or some of these funky lefties he's got to face. He does such a good job of staying closed. Not afraid to let that ball travel, shoot it the other way.
Is that what he does as a left-hand hitter? Why is he so good against lefties?
I just think he's not afraid to let that ball travel. And he's still got quick enough hands to where he can wait that long and still shoot it that way.
It's not. He's a little bit different than some of the guys. Like, I think of Wade Boggs and just kind of staying closed up and that front hip never turning. But Cano starts it early. The body, you see the rhythm start and the leg lifts on the front side. But he then does what you're saying. He still keeps that front side closed. Puts it in the air, left center field. Marisnick calling. And puts it away. 2 down here in the 8th inning. And Seth Smith will come to the plate. These are some sizable bullpens this time of year. There is no fear about bringing in a pitcher after pitcher.
If you're the Mariners, the Astros have got to think and be a little more thoughtful about who's coming in what situation. But eventually you can get into situations where you just got to bring in a fresh body.
Well, the one thing the Astros do have going for them is the Thursday off day this week.
Yes.
That precedes the 3 games in Arizona with the Diamondbacks. Oh, and 2 the count. Perez gets right in front. A lot of just taking going on.
Pretty heavy shift on these lefties, even with Oliver Perez throwing 93 miles an hour on that outer third.
Starts the bat. They appeal to third. Did not go. 1 and 2 now on Smith. Pat Neshek is loose in the Astros pen. And you would figure that Perez would not face any further hitters, so he's got to go get Smith. There's Pat Neshek.
He's one of those guys, he could take his jersey off and you'd know who was in the bullpen.
I love the two hands flying in the air after delivery.
There's a lot of people grinding it out. I'm getting a lot of texts. People on the East Coast even watching games.
Stay with us. It's been Fiers, Qualls, Thatcher, Harris, and now Perez. Right off the end of the bat. And that's dunking in right field in front of the sprinting George Springer. So a 2-out hit by Smith. And this figures to bring A.J. out, and it does. A.J. coming out, points for Thatcher, or rather for Neshek. He will be pitcher number 6 on the evening for the Astros. As you look at that little gem.
That's a big league hitter getting a big league knock. Sometimes that's how it happens.
So a man aboard with 2 outs. And the Astros bring on Pat Neshek. Two-out hit for the M's as Mark Trumbo comes to the plate. Pat Neshek will now work it from the hill.
He's had plenty of rest. He's going to pitch in his 65th game. See the numbers. ERA 3.5. 28 holds this season, is 4th in the AL. But last time he was out there was on the 23rd at home against the Angels, where he went a third of an inning and blew a save, throwing 14 pitches. So hopefully that little bit of rest has got him nice and refreshed and washed that memory of what happened at home. Start things anew.
Carter holding at the bag at first on Smith. Mark Trumbo always dangerous at the plate. 1 for 3 on the night at a 6th inning single. 13 home runs as a member of the Mariners, 22 on the season. And lets it fly. Seattle has had 4 pitchers tonight: Nuno, Ramirez, Smith, and Wilhelmsen. Line drive into right center field. That drops for a hit. Smith heads for third as Springer gets it back in. A pair of singles here with 2 outs in the 8th inning. And Seattle with runners at the corners. as Franklin Gutierrez comes on for his second at bat of the night.
Just seems that anything that Neshek leaves up out of the plate, whether it's hit hard or soft, this one off the end of the bat from Mark Trumbo, ends up in a hit.
So now it gets tight. Brent Strom comes out to the mound. Gutierrez came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning and flied to left field. There's a lot on the line right here.
I agree. This is a big AB. Tie ball game, bottom of the 8th. Winning run at third base. Ground ball gets you out of this.
A lot on any catcher in this situation as well. So Conger's got to make sure and keep everything in front as the first pitch is in there for a strike. Gutierrez, very good numbers in limited opportunities this year. Once upon a time, considered one of the game's best center fielders defensively. Count now. Sean O'Malley, who came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and has taken over in center field, is waiting on deck. For the moment, both bullpens are quiet. So it's all on the shoulders of Pat Neshek. Count evens at 2-2.
Good pitch. Stay right there, Neshek. Those are tough pitches. Stay down the zone, try and create some of that backdoor sink.
That's not AJ calling the game. That's just the running game.
Good pitch.
And a good job by Gutierrez to stay alive.
Even better job spoiling that good pitch.
Concentration even in the stands.
I say every fan out there that is an Astro fan knows the situation.
And now it's 3-2. That's going to put Mark Trumbo in motion from first base.
But like you said, now you have a decision to make. You've got O'Malley, the youngster, on deck, switch hitter. But basically first base is open with that runner taken off.
And I think the numbers would say much better chance facing O'Malley. Half swing. Did he go through? No, he did not. That's Andy Fletcher down at first base who threw the palms down. So that'll load him up. All of this coming with 2 outs. And now Sean O'Malley comes to the plate.
Force out anywhere, but Neshek putting this on himself now. Walks have been adding up in his recent outings. Borderline. But I think it would have taken a full swing to get a strike call from the first base umpire down there.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's a manager acting calm.
I was just going to say, never let him see that you're nervous, right?
Yeah, and AJ does a good job because he knows what that does to the guys in the dugout. You start to see that manager panic, that just leads to a whole lot of bad things happening in that dugout. But he does a good job of keeping his composure, letting these guys know that he has their backs.
Infield pinched in on the corners. O'Malley struck out as a pinch hitter in the 7th. But now a 1-0 count. 2-0 the count. It was Oliver Perez allowing the 2-out single right off the end of the bat to Seth Smith. Neshek came on to face Trumbo, who singled, putting runners at first and third, and then the walk to Gutierrez. 2-1. O'Malley taking all the way.
Pretty good pitch on a 2-0 count.
Josh Fields now gets it loose. Out on the hands. I think it was O'Malley you mentioned being a bit tardy the last time he was at the plate.
Yeah, he was trying to face Will Harris's cutter, got blown up and fired one over the Astros dugout. But now probably leaning over that outer third, knowing that Neshek has that good sinker away. Got blown up with a little slider cutter on the hands.
O'Malley's a switch hitter. Lines one left center field for a hit. 1 run scores. 2 runs will score on a 2-out base hit by Sean O'Malley. And with that throw skipping by Conger, everybody moves up. It's now a 6-4 Seattle lead and runners at second and third.
Location. Up in the zone with 2 strikes, you're doing the hitter a favor. And a good job by O'Malley shooting this one back up the middle with 2 outs. Everybody on the run with the swing of the bat. Trumbo taking a chance, gets in. With that ball getting past Conger, everybody moves up 90 more feet. Big 2-out hit.
Seattle takes the lead here in the 8th inning. It's the second Houston error of the night. I have not heard who that was charged to. Fly ball, foul territory, right field. George Springer with the play, and that'll do it. Put Seattle with 2 outs, and nobody on base. Comes up with a pair of runs, leading at 6-4 as we go to the 9th.
Geico quote of the day comes from Hank Conger, who got the start today. He's talking about turning the tables on the Texas Rangers. He said if they can do it, so can we. These games dwindling down for the Astros. And an example last night, following the game, you walk into the clubhouse, the entire team is watching to see what the Angels are doing. So they're definitely checking out other teams. They're definitely watching the Rangers, who got the win today. These Astros know what's at stake. Ash.
Yeah, Julian, I think right about now, everybody's learning that the Angels have won their ball game as well. It's a final 8-1. The Angels down the Oakland A's. And so the Angels will stay at 74 losses. The Astros need a win to stay there themselves. And here in the 9th inning against right-hander Tom Wilhelmsen, Luis Valbuena will pinch hit. This for Hank Conger. While waiting on deck is Colby Rasmus. 8, 9, and 1 for Houston here to start things in the 9th.
It's going to take some late inning heroics.
Good old-fashioned rally time.
Got some bombers coming up right here. Wilhelmsen can make some mistakes. Hopefully Valbuena or Rasmus can jump on him.
You get one base runner, and Springer will come to the plate, and he's swinging it mighty well. Valbuena hitting .214. Has a 2-0 count. That bench presently now on the left side, Castro and John Singleton. Once you factor in Colby Rasmus as well, who's waiting on deck. Right-handed bats available: Max Stassi, Carlos Gomez, and Matt Duffy. It's now 3-1. And what the Astros need is a base runner.
One thing the Astros have been throughout the course of the year is resilient. They have not been frightened by these situations, especially on the offensive side. Getting some big hits late.
Another strike is called. It's 3-2. Valbuena was ready to throw that bat aside.
Well, we've seen pitches down there all night long just avoid being called a strike, and now all of a sudden it shows up.
Yeah, that's been a ball much of the night. Right through the left side. Luis Valbuena takes a tough pitch, shoots it to left, and a leadoff single.
There's a little excuse me desperation swing right there from Valbuena. Almost looked like he was just trying to fight it off. Ends up turning it into a knock. Surprised himself with a late bat flip right there. Just stick it out there. You never know.
That is really good work. So Valbuena aboard. It's not about stealing a bag and trying to pick up a run. This is about 2 or more here in the inning. This is the Jake Marisnick spot as Colby Rasmus comes on. Second straight pinch hitter in the 9th inning. And a good aggressive swing to get it started.
Good pitch to swing on, too. Stay tuned after the game as Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanton break down all the action from tonight's game, plus interviews from the clubhouse and much more on the Astros postgame show presented by Houston Methodist.
Colby takes a strike. It's 0-2. 22 big home runs for Colby. And you know AJ is trying to catch lightning in a bottle right here. Angels and Rangers both winners tonight. Chopper is foul. .55 RBIs for Colby. Nobody out here in the top of the 9th. Rasmus in front, and there's the first out of the 9th.
Big curveball from Todd Wilhelmsen. Normally works with that fastball, changeup, split-fingered mix, but Colby did a good job of laying off a couple of those changeups in the dirt. Not the big breaking ball.
1 out, a man aboard. Top of the order, Jose Altuve. 1 for 4 on the night. That won a first inning single. And quite honestly, this is exactly where the Astros would like to be if you need something now in the 9th inning.
Well, these are the catalysts on this team. The 1-2-3 spot for the Houston Astros have been majority of their production, a majority of their numbers throughout the course of the season.
Altuve, Springer, and Correa. It's a ball and a strike. There's George, 3 hits on the night, one of those a double. Boy, it looked awfully big at the time. Played at the go-ahead 3rd run then. Right off the end of the bat, Wilhelmsen gets an out at second. They won't get the double play, and so Springer will come to the plate. So Altuve 1 for 5, but he's a base runner now in the 9th inning.
He's talking about George's night. Ripped that first base hit to left field. Got a changeup right here from Nuno. Stayed through it, going to left field, but this was a beautiful swing right here and a big swing to pick up the Houston Astros with that 2-out RBI and a bullet to that right center field gap. We saw him hit a bomb to right center field last night, staying up the middle through the baseball, swinging a hot bat, has a base runner on board. Let's see what happens.
Well, this is the guy you want at the plate right now.
Absolutely.
2 runs down, 2 outs here in the 9th inning, and the Astros desperate to pick up a W tonight. Altuve will take second uncontested. Fielder's indifference.
Oh boy. It's tough in this situation to see a pitch like that called for a strike.
Well, you get the call on the first one. You kind of set the guy up at the plate, and he offers on a bad pitch. And now 0-2.
Still got a pitch left. Maybe Wilhelmsen tries to waste a couple to get George's swing out of the zone, but we know that he's pretty tight, knowing the strike zone is own. But a mistake right here.
It's a good job of just staying alive.
This is where that strike zone discipline for George Springer comes in handy. But again, we've seen some strikes being called off the plate a little bit, but this one just fends it off. Dial 911 every once in a while, they pick up.
It's really 2 here in the inning.
Live to fight another pitch.
And fouled off again. 96 on that down and away heater.
Oh my goodness.
Did you see a flinch like
Did
I
you
thought I saw
see
a
that?
flinch? Paul Emmel,
Wow.
the home plate umpire, and there was just a little bit of body movement here.
Nasty pitch from Wilhelmsen. Catches part of the zone, but Paul Emmel thought about it but didn't pull the trigger. Astros still fighting.
1-2 the count. This should do it. A fly ball to right field. Smith makes the catch, and the Astros fall here in Game 2 in Seattle as the series evens at a game apiece, and a costly loss for the Astros as both the Rangers and the Angels win tonight, and that puts a real change in things for the moment.
Time now for the make.